So this was a learning weekend, an experience weekend. I've experienced all sorts of new things, and it was an awesome time. And I want to talk and go into a scene in Pittsburgh that I was just recently exposed to in some ways, and I knew it existed on some level, but I guess I didn't realize how big and how great the spoken word storytelling scene is here in Pittsburgh. And it started off with a last weekend, so a little, yeah, this past weekend, I went to the Fringe Festival, which wasn't really spoken word, but it was the first time I had been there, and I saw some unbelievable performances there, and that's a really cool experience, and I can't wait to go back to that next year. But I saw 3 shows in particular at the Fringe Festival. There were other fantastic shows. Those are just the ones I was able to go to. One of them was called Too Stupid, which my friends Ian and my friend Kevin and Courtney did, and that was great. And then I saw a fantastic dancing, painting performance that our friend Liz Tripoli choreographed. Joanna was involved with that as well. Lots of great people. And then I saw a magician named Cody Clark. He's actually from Louisville, and he was fantastic. It was right before the Autism Awareness Month started, and he was a magician. I'm trying to like combine musician and magician at the same time. And he was a magician, yes, who had autism or has autism, and it was really interesting the way he was able to.
Magician with autism.
Yes. Pretty fantastic.
Nope. Okay, go on.
We're inventing words. But no, yeah, it was really incredible to hear his story. And I guess that was interesting because that was kind of a storytelling event in and of itself, because he talked about his background with autism and how it helped him become a magician. And he worked that story into his routine, and it wasn't forced. It was very natural. It flowed really well, and it was really an awesome experience. And then last night, and I know we have a picture for those of you watching, I made it to my first Moth event, which is a monthly storytelling event, and it's basically an open mic for storytellers. And I've been wanting to go to a story slam for a while, and my friend Tori Shinneman, who's a wonderful storyteller, had been telling me about it. I had heard and discovered that they exist, these slams, through another podcast that she was on. So the Story Slam weekly open mic thing, it's not really called an open mic, but it takes place every Tuesday, and we have our music festival meetings on Tuesdays. Well, this week it's on a Wednesday, and I told her, I said, I can go this week, let's do it. And she goes, well, I won't be there. She goes, I'm going to this Moth event, which is a monthly storytelling event. So I said, sure. So I go there, and it's at the Rex Theater, and I don't know why, the Rex in my mind, it's been some time since I've been there. In my mind, it was a smaller theater, and it's not. It's a much bigger theater than I was expecting. But I go there, and I'm expecting tables and chairs and kind of people casually sitting around listening to this event. And I get there, and there's a line out the door, and she told me before I came, to get your tickets early because it does sell out. So I come, and I wait in line, and there's a lot of people there. And I get through the line, I make it in, and then I walk into the theater, and my mind was blown. The amount of people that came out for this was insane. The chairs, there were chairs. There were not tables. You could not fit tables into this place. The chairs were so close to one another that your knees hit the chair in front of you because there wasn't enough leg room, because they were trying to cram enough rows to fit everybody in.
Hope the fire marshal's not listening.
The place was packed from the very beginning all the way to the end of the theater, where there were people funneling in a standing room only section at the back. It was packed. And I was just blown away at I mean, this is basically, in a way, it was an open mic. You just go there, you put your name in, you want to tell a story, and they pick your name out, and it's at random. And my friend Tori, and I felt bad because she had brought some friends with her, she actually did not get to perform. She was not selected that night. But it was still really an interesting event. And then we all went across the street to the bar across the street. And not everybody. I mean, if everybody at the Rex went across the street, the bar, the fire code would have been would have been broken. But several of the storytellers went across the street, and we were able to talk with them personally afterwards. But it was a really cool event, and it was something that I was able to experience for the first time. And in case you're wondering who I am Brian Crawford, and you are listening to the River's Edge Radio Network. That's the opening of today's story. I've got Michael Cohen here to my right and Tara Molesworth across the room here from me. Have either of you been to a slam event?
It was a nice slam event. I actually just last week though went to Wordplay, which is a similar storytelling event, but set over a soundtrack. And I don't know if it's done every month or every time by Traxploitation, but this time it was done by Traxploitation.
Oh, dude, they're the best.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. And yeah, it was five storytellers. Over.
How big was the room? Was it crowded?
It was at Bricolage, and it was packed.
Was it packed? Yeah, I mean, that's my thing. Like to just having been exposed to this scene just recently. I mean, I've
never been to anything like it before.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of storytellers at the different open mics that I go to, but they're always mixed in with musicians and comedy, comedians and things like that. But I've never gone to an event that was just about storytelling, and I guess I just didn't realize how big the scene was. And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is that this Moth event, apparently it's in 30 different cities, and Pittsburgh was actually the 5th or 6th city added to the list. So Pittsburgh's kind of one of the veterans in this Moth storytelling event.
And they also have competitions, which I believe one of our locals won.
This week?
No, not this week. I mean, like they have like annual competitions that a local comic, John Dick Winters, actually won one year
for the Moth event.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's very cool.
Yeah.
So they do a competition actually every month, and now they may have a bigger national competition. I'm not sure, but they do a competition every month. But that's kind of funny because the people who are judging may have no real authority in storytelling. They literally just like the first groups of people that come in, they're like, hey, you could be a judging group.
Oh, wow.
And you could be a judging group, and you can be a judging group.
It's the Oprah of judging groups.
Yeah, so they literally, the judging's very much at random, and it's very subjective to what the different people like. Yeah, but it was fun, and in a way that's almost better because then it's not like some stuffy person who's a long time poet.
The Academy.
And, that's pointing out all the flaws in your story. No, it's just some people who like this or like that. And if you could find that Pepsi information, I'm very interested about that as well, why people were upset, because as you know, and it has not ended, by the way, for those of you who thought that we've moved past the Pepsi boycott on this program, but it is still going along.
We boycott Pepsi.
We do, yeah. Well, do you know why?
No.
Because, and this is something that this actually was around before you joined the program, but we've had a long-running boycott on Pepsi ever since they put emojis on the side of their bottles.
So they were the first ones to do that?
That's their thing. So.
Like Coke writes the names.
Coke writes the names.
And their response was emojis.
Yes, and
why don't you like?
I think emojis are stupid. I do not.
That's like saying hieroglyphics are stupid. It's like another language.
No, hieroglyphics was a language that we've evolved from.
We're evolving into the language of.
No, we're devolving.
Emojis.
We're devolving into pictures because, heaven forbid, we use words. I'm sorry.
I don't know why are words inherently more evolved than.
Because we used to use pictures,
eyes.
And we've moved from pictures to words. I'm sorry, you look like like some middle school girl who doesn't who's I don't know, like
I don't know what they look like.
The emojis on the Pepsi bottle.
No, I know what emojis look like, but I don't know what
they look stupid, and I'm steadfast in my disapproval of Pepsi and their emoji campaign, and unless they either A, remove the emojis, or B, sponsor the program, the boycott.
Cute. They're cute.
They're not cute. They're so stupid.
So here's what I didn't like. I didn't like it on the cans and them trying to portray it as a way for you to personalize your can and express the thing that you are feeling in that moment. The actual concept of emojis doesn't bother me.
The entire concept bothers me.
Oh, see, here's actually what
the only time it's okay is like if you're like telling someone something online and you're trying to you add a smiley face so that way they know that you're not giving them like a negative, because people can't always read someone's inflection, you know what I mean?
Definitely
like through
crucial
text.
in text messages.
So, but only limited. Like I hate when people like send a picture like, like money sign, pizza, this, that, and it's like, really? You're not competent enough to just say that you're buying a pizza?
This one's playing Marco Polo, which is pretty cute.
Here's my real question, and I think should be people's determining factor on whether or not they like emojis. What was your take on Esperanto? Because what I think emojis is a steady push to homogenize language, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's this big skip in what's essentially going to be the homogenization of
so like
there
won't be Spanish and English, and it'll all just go back to one, or go forth into one language.
At the very least, there will be a common language.
That's
Sarah,
what the internet is, yeah.
Sarah's commenting on my glass of water, and she says that this mug is made for beer, not water. And it's funny because it does look like a beer mug, but I actually got this in high school. So what are you trying to say, Norwin Band?
Oh, here we go. Found it.
You found it? Okay, so why are people upset with Pepsi?
Let's see. Do we want the one from Cosmopolitan or Variety?
Cosmopolitan.
Okay. Sorry. People are pissed about Kendall Jenner's new ad for Pepsi.
Okay.
People on both ends of the political spectrum are not happy with Pepsi's latest ad featuring Kendall Jenner. Released on Tuesday, the ad depicts Kendall's rapid ascent to wokeness after she sees a rally go by outside while she's in the middle of a photo shoot, empowered by a cello-carrying protester and the crowd's generic signs of "join the conversation." The model rips off the blonde wig she is wearing and wipes off her makeup before running to join them, despite the commercial never specifying what injustice the crowd is protesting. Intercut with shots of other frustrated, creative, and happy youths, Kendall then walks through the crowd to hand a Pepsi to a police officer, apparently making peace between the protesters and police as a result. The crowd then erupts into cheers. Needless to say, and that's me editorializing, the backlash against the ad was swift, with many criticizing the commercial for being tone-deaf at best and unforgivably offensive and damaging at worst.
Let's see. Let's bring Amanda on as well. She can comment on this story. Welcome, Amanda. Amanda?
Yeah.
There we go. Welcome. So we're talking about Pepsi. Are you familiar with this ad? I just think like they're trying to copy Coke because she's sharing the Coke. Like she's sharing a Pepsi with the police.
Was someone giving Cokes out to cops too?
I don't know, but isn't that like their catchphrase? Share a Coke.
Now it's taste the
rainbow
feeling. Taste your feelings. It's terrible. I know.
That's stupid.
I know. Well, I'm mad at Coke. Y'all are mad at Pepsi.
Is their new motto snitches get sodas?
So Amanda, welcome, and we had Bold Nights out this morning. It'll be on demand a little bit later, but we're gonna transition here into what happened on the show this week and why people should tune in.
Oh, well, I was going to talk about the Pepsi commercial.
Yes, let's do it. All right, let's talk about the Pepsi commercial. Are you boycotting Pepsi with me?
I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I was fully confused. First of all, I'm confused on 2 points. A, why is it making people mad? And B, she has no reason to be protesting anything in the world.
Well, I think people just want to be mad. I think that's...
Yeah, I just think it's something new for people to complain about, but literally the Jenner family has no reason to complain about anything in the world.
They pretty much just... They've got all the money, and they do what they want, and everybody seems to support them. So
yeah, so maybe it was an attempt to make her look more human, but I would have chosen like 20 other models over her. There's actual models who have like real issues. Like there is plus size models there is the one model who has the I'm being so not politically correct here, but she has that skin condition that Michael Jackson had. There are like so many other models who have real life problems that cause them to be bullied their entire life. Not a size 0. Not to say that she's perfect. She probably has problems. She probably has like anxiety disorder or some like paranoia disorder or something like that. But literally, they chose the wrong person to do it.
See, to me that makes total sense, right? You pick some rich white lady, she looks outside and goes and gives soda to the fucking cops. That totally plays in my book.
And not only that, but like 90% of the protests going on right now don't even involve the police officers. Like, there was just like 2 in Pittsburgh yesterday, and all over the news, the cops were nowhere near them.
And she probably gave him a Pepsi bottle with like a winking smiley face as well.
And I noticed the cop didn't look like a normal cop either. He looked like he was a male model.
Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't look like any of the cops I know in Pittsburgh. I mean, come on.
Also, was he? I haven't seen the ad yet. Was he dressed like a paramilitary nut job? Because that's what most cops dress like. Like, if you're at a protest, that cop's gonna have like zip ties and pepper and like 6 types of pepper spray.
He didn't even have like the riot gear on.
Yeah.
He was standing there like he looked like he was out of like the fireman's calendar that they give out every year to raise money, where they pose with like puppies and without their shirts on. That's what the cop looks like.
Also, you can't give cops food at protests. I've tried. They will not take it from you.
I know. I don't know what people think. Like, but like, I get that. I have never been at a protest in Pittsburgh. I was one in Washington, D.C., not over recent things that we're talking 20 years ago in college. Literally, like, that is not how it happens in a protest. Like, there are not cops just standing there smiling.
No, they all look mad nervous, and if you approach them with stuff, they tell you to get back, and if you don't, you get maced.
Exactly.
I would have loved a Pepsi ad in which that woman got maced trying to give a cop a Pepsi.
That would have been funny. And then he could like.
And then I wonder, like, in real life situations, if they're just promoting like people to make peace, and I'm like, well, I don't think that Kylie Jenner is fighting with the police officers in real life.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I would love to see the police officer not only use the mace like you're saying, but then like, I don't know, just like I just want him to tie the emojis in basically and say don't use emojis. That's basically what I want.
Which is hilarious because I almost sent you a thumbs up emoji this morning when you were like, did you want to be on the air? I almost sent you a thumbs up emoji, but now I'm glad I didn't.
Well, the thumbs up, like if you just sent me like the thumbs up, the Facebook thumbs up, to me that's just like a quick yes. That's not like I'm replacing.
I would have conveyed my thing. Like, I'm good.
It's
Yeah.
not replacing sentences with symbols. I don't know, like that's.
No, I work with and having to daily interact with people who are a lot younger than me, who their constant social media feed looks like that. I am very confused.
Yeah, some of these you can't even decipher what people are saying anymore. It's.
Right.
See, to me, the functional word there is you. You can't decipher what they're saying.
Well, if I
anymore.
can't decipher what they're saying, then that's all that matters. Because I'm the one that's
Well,
reading
no,
it. If I can't read it, I can't
I
understand
agree.
it.
No, I can't decipher. Like, I get confused. Like, I want to write to them and be like, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you having like some seizure that you cannot type out a word that says I am shopping for shoes?" Like,
Can we go back in time? Like, I just want to go and just beat the hell out of their elementary school teacher because obviously they failed. If you can't even construct a sentence, you failed. The teachers failed. I mean, come on. You learn this stuff when you're in grade school. It's.
Do you use everything you learned in grade school still?
Yeah.
I use sentence structures and I use words.
I think it's a more abstract form of the sentences that you learn in elementary school.
No, it's laziness.
That you could see there's still some syntax, still some rules there within the.
There's no rules. It's pictures. It's like it's like a, I don't know, like pictogram or whatever. It's just can we all be like adults and just like put some words in?
The
There,
River's
there
Edge
is
is
a
a.
humorous. I will tell you if you Google it, there is a humorous thread out there. I wish I knew. I wish I remembered what song it was, but somebody actually did an entire song in emojis. Like literally, it's the lyrics to the song.
People
in
have done a number
emoji
of books in
form.
them as well at this point. I mean, they're pushing towards kind of solidifying them as static meaning images, and I think that that's the point where they're going to start homogenizing international languages. Is once they establish as static meaning.
And I hope that if that's the case, I hope I see an early grave. I'll just be honest. I don't want to live in a world where all I have to look at are all these goddamn winking, smiling, frowning, like, no.
The River's Edge, a new type of radio with mid-30s DJs afraid of the future. Don't worry, we're still change-averse.
We're on the forefront of technology. We're just not on the forefront of stupid little smiling faces.
Emojis are the least frightening thing about cell phones to me.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there. As a person who works in like cell phone business, no, the emojis are the least scariest thing.
So, let's...
90% of the apps are the scariest thing.
Yes.
The apps can be
What are
scary,
the apps doing?
but
Why should I be scared?
Like, there are so many apps right now that are like back doors. Like, there's a calculator app that you can send photos through. Like, there are so many like evasive apps that are just like, I'm sorry to say it, but I get that you can choose what you put on them, like Snapchat and Instagram stories and everything else, but they're very invasive. Like,
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched an Instagram story and I'm like, my God, have you done your dishes in the past week? Like, people aren't conscious of like what they're doing or saying when they make these videos. There's a guy, he makes video games. He's like an ex-military. He has the most interesting, wildest like Instagram stories I've ever watched. But 90% of the time, he doesn't watch what he's saying and how quick he's saying it, or he doesn't rehearse. Which, I'm sorry, if you're a person who is making money off of social media, you need to rehearse and time it. 90% of his Instagram stories are him cut off mid-sentence.
oh wow, that's bad. Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, I'm watching, and I'm like, dude, your maid didn't clean your house today. There's like, that's funny on your television. Like, it just starts to get really like kind of funny. But
It's dark.
and like the apps are just really, really invasive now. Like to you, I was on one last night that was a women's entrepreneurial, like social media, and literally it acted like Tinder. It was a Tinder-like site where I filled out a profile, I took a personality quiz, and then literally it matched me up with other female entrepreneurs in Pittsburgh. And I could either swipe if I wanted to talk to them or
Wow.
swipe the other way if I wanted to dismiss them.
That's incredible.
What a way to do business, right?
I'm like, what a way. I just wanted to see if there were other ways that I could connect with other bloggers in the city, outside of the Facebook group and my normal, like, my usual women entrepreneur group, like, and my usual entrepreneur group.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few of them in Facebook that I'm friends with that I get inundated with the same question every time, or I get like, I just wanted new avenues, like a different avenue. And I was like, I'll check out this app. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm treating these female entrepreneurs like Tinder dates.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No one deserves to be treated like a Tinder date.
Dennis.
Nobody ever deserves
Not
to be
even
Tinder.
on Tinder.
Speaking of which, we talked about Tinder dates on our podcast.
Okay. And let's elaborate, because let's go into the podcast. Why should people listen? What did you guys get into? You said Tinder dates. What about
I
Tinder?
hate to segue, but I do have a class at 11 o'clock.
That's fine.
Let's stay and talk all morning. We did talk about where to eat and drink this week. We went to Social House 7 for the first time, which was delicious. Look for the full blog post later on this week. And we were shocked to actually get a table at Southern Tier Brewery
Okay.
at the time.
Nice.
So that place has been packed with a 2-hour-long waiting time. Like, no matter what time you go. We walked in on Sunday afternoon, and I literally didn't even ask the hostess, can I get a table? I literally just said, how long is the wait?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, there isn't one. You can have a table right now. And I was like, oh, sweet. So we actually hung out at Southern Tier on Sunday. But where to be seen in the next few weeks? Wiggle Whiskey is having a 5-year anniversary this month. So
This is a big
they're doing
anniversary
5
month, yeah, because the Funhouse at Mr. Smalls is actually having their first-year anniversary coming up.
Yeah, it's a big time. Like,
That is
lot
a
of
great
people-
stage.
Right, like, it's kind of crazy. They're having 5 weeks of events
Oh, wow.
this week. So it's literally every single Friday through May, through the marathon, you can have an event at Wiggle Whiskey.
Oh, wow.
Including opening a brand new tap room in the Omni William Penn.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, so they
That's a big deal for them because you get a lot of people coming in from all over the country, some international customers to be able to try their whiskey, a local whiskey here from Pittsburgh at a hotel like that. That's really saying something. It's a very historic hotel as well.
I think it's kind of cool too because that bar that's been in there has been around forever, and they need something new and eccentric in there. And they've tried things with Speakeasy, and the Speakeasy's not open enough to do it. So I think this is a great way to kind of like get in a new.
Well, which bar are they using?
The bar upstairs in the restaurant.
Okay, so the terrace room.
I have no confirmation of where Wiggle is in the building.
Okay.
I think it's the old Speakeasy.
What's that?
I think it's the Speakeasy in the basement.
Okay.
I think it is. I have no confirmation until the 19th when I actually get to go and look at it.
Yeah, that would actually be a very cool place for them to sell their whiskey out of in the Speakeasy. It's a really cool atmosphere down there, and I think it would make sense. And apparently that was an actual real Speakeasy that they uncovered while they were working on the building, so it's got some history to it. It's not just a Speakeasy where they're throwing the Speakeasy name on it and saying, hey, look, it's a Speakeasy. It actually was a Speakeasy.
Right, and I think that would be the wisest choice. And the last reign of what that Speakeasy was a Speakeasy, basically. They weren't open, enough to really attract anybody, and their menus and things like that weren't if you were coming in off the street, okay, if you think about that block in Pittsburgh, if you were coming in off the street like you were going to eat up or you're going to a show at PPG, the only place to hang out around there to get something to eat is Bigelow Grill, the Commoner, or inside the Omni. And if you tried to get into the Speakeasy, it wasn't always open. So you'd end up at the Commoner. So that's why things like the hotel restaurants, I think they need to evolve a little bit. They need to if we're going to be building so many hotels here in Pittsburgh for whatever reason, Super Bowl or Olympics or whatever they want to make the reason this week, they need to up the restaurants inside of them and the bars, in my personal opinion, and they already are. With Union Station opening and the Commoner and things like that the past few years. I think hotel bars and restaurants are going to be stepping up.
Sweet Jesus, please don't let the Olympics come here. That'd be a nightmare.
I would rather the Olympics than the Super Bowl.
You should go look at Vancouver and Sao Paulo before you say that.
I will go on record saying Bold Pittsburgh is more for the Super Bowl being here than the Olympics.
Why? What benefit?
The Olympics are a nightmare. You don't want that.
I don't want either of them, but I'm just saying if I were to get one, at least with the Olympics, you can get grant money to help fix your infrastructure and things like that. The Super Bowl just comes in, hey, spend all this money on us.
The grant money to fix your infrastructure is a nightmare for actual residents.
And the Super Bowl is going to be a nightmare for actual residents as well.
It's a much smaller event is the thing.
The
Olympics
profitableness of the Super Bowl, that entire week, because it's a week-long event, it's not just a one-day event, it would be astronomical to people like the restaurant industry, the hotel industry.
Well, the Olympics is not a one-day event. That's a a long-term event.
No, the Olympics is a nightmare. What you get with the Olympics is a lot of international investment in authoritarian police practices to clear out actual residents in order to make it this like the new shiny Pittsburgh that like a lot of locals actually find totally alienating is what the Olympics does to a city. Like that.
Yeah.
That's why Chicago rejected it. But it's what happened to Atlanta. It's what I mean. It was a nightmare in Brazil. It was a nightmare in Vancouver. A lot of cities don't even want to host the Olympics anymore because it's such like it's a shit show.
Well, luckily the Steelers have now pushed back and they're not planning on bringing the Super Bowl to Pittsburgh because they wanted the city to pay for everything, and the city actually stood up for them for once and said no. So now they've.
Because I'm sorry, but taxpayers should not be paying for it. If the Rooney family wants
What are you talking
Super Bowl,
about?
The Rooney family should pay for it.
The Steelers are a non-profit organization, Amanda.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
They should not be. I mean, we as a taxpayer have an obligation.
No.
We have an obligation to help them out.
I have seen the Rooney's restaurant tab. Don't.
So what did
I've
you?
seen how much money they've spent at Eddie Merlot's on a Friday night.
Damn.
He said, she said. What did you guys cover real quick this week before I let you get on to your class? What could people?
He said so. We have a very interesting Dine and Dasher going on in LA, Burbank, California. I uncovered this story of a guy who is going around making purposeful Tinder dates or like Match.com dates, and then walking out at the end of his meal and not paying the bill.
Wow.
He has done this to multiple women now. It is actually so much that the police are looking for him. They have his picture on camera and
Of course.
everything.
You can't do that in 2017.
He literally like orders 3 or 4 entrees, so his half of the bill is over $100. Then proceeds to eat them all in front of her, and then acts like he gets a phone call, steps outside, and disappears forever.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you just dine and dash on your own? Is the part that like is it less I guess it's less illegal to do it the way he's been doing it, but I feel like that's gonna catch up with you eventually anyway. And you're on.
Well, now it's catching up to him because it's all over social media, and it's it's not over this end of social media, but literally I got it in like Apple News when I looked at dating. I was like, oh, look at that! Like there's some guy who figured out that. I mean. And so we go into the hands of it of we flipped the story and we turned it into the ways we've gotten out of dates. So I've done the whole like phone call in the middle of it, but I've also thrown down a $20 bill to pay for my half of the date.
You
know what I mean?
Hide the $20 bill under your plate so they still don't realize you're leaving. But then once they realize you've left, there's the money.
Yeah, like I've gotten the whole like, oh, my sister is sick, I have to go home. Like,
Gotcha.
Phone call from my girlfriend to get out of a bad date. Like, but I've left money on the tab and then walked out. Like I first said like, oh, I'll call you in a week, which wasn't the truth, and then walked out. It's not like I totally been like, oh, I got to take this, and then walked out and been like, peace out, and took my half of the like food with me. You know what I mean? Like. Not like
Right.
that. Like, and then I was starting to ask, like, does this guy have a man purse that he's like sticking the steak in? Like, who orders 3 entrees?
Oh,
like,
he's taking it with him even.
yeah, I'm like,
That is
he,
impressive.
like asking for it to go doggy bag? And then like the flip side of it was, Steve talked about how he has had to ring up women who were on creepy dates who like. Came to like acted like they went to the bathroom, then paid for their half the bill, and then they snuck her out back to the restaurant.
Oh,
like
wow.
That he has had to do that quite a few times. Since he moved to Pittsburgh, not as much, but in New York City and Jersey, a lot more.
Well,
so here's
Jersey.
Here's a story where I ditched, but I had a plan, and this is a really really awkward situation. I met a friend it was a pastor who I met. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually, you mentioned the Commoner. He's the pastor of First Lutheran Church, the church next to the Commoner that's getting smoked out. But I met him.
I have so many opinions about that, but yeah, I feel for that church smelling like pizza pizza every day.
Yeah. So I met actually my friend Brian, who's the pastor there, at the Synod Assembly, and we became friends there, or at least we didn't really become good friends at that point yet because we had just met each other. But I went to the pastor's drink afterwards. So basically, after Synod Assembly, the pastors have like a big party outside the dorms where they're all cracking beers and throwing them back. It's a lot of fun. So we connected, and I had messaged him. I said, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever. And he said, "I'm meeting a few friends from church after church at Rivertown Brewing in North Huntingdon." So I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Maybe I'll come out and say hi." And again, I'd only met him once, so I had some idea of what he, of who he looked like or whatever, but it wasn't like I'd hung out with him for years. So I go down to Rivertown, and I see him sitting at a table with all of these people, and it made sense. So I sit down, and everybody was kind of cold to me, and it was like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, who in the world is this guy? And I'm talking to everybody, hey, how's it going? I'm Brian, and my friend who's also named Brian, he wasn't responding to me. Like, he wasn't even really acknowledging that I was there. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. So then all of a sudden, a friend who I knew from high school shows up. And I'm like, oh, thank God, somebody I know who isn't going to act like I'm some sort of leper. So I'm like, hey, Adam, what's up? And we're talking for a few minutes. And everyone's kind of getting along. I'm communicating with people, and it just really felt uncomfortable and awkward. So then, all of a sudden, I hear somebody tell this guy, who I think is my friend Brian, happy birthday. And I realize that that's not Brian. I just sat at the wrong table, and I crashed a birthday party unknowingly. And I felt so awkward, and so like I can't believe that I just crashed this birthday party. I've been sitting down here drinking beers with these people for like a half an hour or so.
It's their fault for letting you do that.
I know, everybody was just like, and so then I just like kind of stood up like I had to go to the bathroom. I walked out of Rivertown, and I texted my friend. I said, hey, can you cover my tab, because I don't know any of these people. So then I messaged Brian afterwards, and I'm like, hey, I didn't know if you were at Rivertown or what's going on. And here he had been there the whole time. He was outside, and I never made it outside to his table. And we ended up catching up later. But I don't even think he knows that story. I just told him that I couldn't make it that day or something. But I completely crashed this party, and it was awful. Sarah's asking if I got free cake, and
Everybody though.
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was the most successful crash because I had no idea that I was actually crashing anything. And it just made sense that there would be a group of people around him because he said he was meeting people after church.
Sure.
So, it was crazy.
Whatever. That is
So
entirely
the last
their
thing
fault.
that's kind of, I've done the whole networking ditch though, where I've been like out like networking and then just disappeared and didn't tell anybody goodbye. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They call it ghosting at networking when you do that. Like, you just leave a networking event without saying goodbye.
Really? See, I can't do that. I was trained at a young age that you say hello to everybody in a room and then you say goodbye to everyone in a room that you know. So, like, I'll spend like 20 minutes tracking everybody down, trying to find them to say goodbye.
No.
I call that the Irish goodbye, because literally, like, and Steve will admit to doing it too. Like, I'll have to text him 20 minutes before he leaves his friends and say, start saying your goodbye, because I'll be outside until.
Wait, no. The Irish goodbye is when you ghost. Saying goodbye to everyone is the Jewish goodbye. No, the Irish goodbye is ghosting because you just kind of wander out the back drunk and no one knows where you went. Was my impression. I can double check that on the interwebs.
But real quick, you were going to say one more thing about the show before we...
The last thing that we talked about is there's a new scientific study that people are blurting embarrassing things. Oh, hold on. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my phone just went wonky. Sorry. Hold on.
So, blurting embarrassing things. What's the most...
so blurting embarrassing things after sex. And now they're relating it to scientific. They're saying because your endorphins and adrenaline is the way it is after sex, that is why you blurt things like, "You complete me, I love you, let's go get married in Vegas tomorrow."
Wow.
Interesting.
So we took a little trip down history lane to discuss if we've ever said anything embarrassing afterwards.
Nice. So you'll have to check that out. That will be up on demand a little bit later today if you missed it this morning. Amanda, thank you so much, as always.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too. That was Amanda Narcisi of BOLD Pittsburgh and BOLD Nights Out, which can be heard every Wednesday morning here on Pittsburgh's local music radio station, the River's Edge Radio Network. After the break, we have some exciting news coming to the Pittsburgh airport.
Ooh.
New news.
And yes, the ghosting, a.k.a. the Irish goodbye or the French exit.
And that is when you just disappear.
When you just dip. Yep.
Yeah, I don't do that.
That's always my method.
It's what I try to do. If someone catches me on the way out, I'll say
They get a
bye.
goodbye.
But yeah.
Oh, I'm awful. I go around to like the entire place. I track people down. I'm like looking behind, like in like closets, like trying to find people. Where is everybody? I gotta say goodbye to everybody. But that's the way I do it. Like it's like this huge ordeal. I literally track
It
everyone
sounds
down.
stressful, which is why I don't do
Yeah.
that.
But it's nice. Then people know that you care.
By the time
do
I'm
care.
leaving, I've probably had
But people
enough
know
of
you
that
care
place.
if you go and say goodbye to them. If you've made a point to track them down
Yeah.
to say goodbye.
Yeah, I've stayed
That's
as
sweet.
I've spent all my emotional energy staying as long as possible in order to be polite, and I am just empty. I'm on E. I'm ready to.
You've done all you can.
Yes.
Well, time to recharge
Precisely.
because we've got a new flight coming to Pittsburgh, which is actually really exciting, and that's up
Is
right
it the
after the
Iceland
break.
flight?
What's that?
Never mind.
All right, that's after the break right here on the River's Edge.
Hey, listen up for some sweet pizza discounts. The River's Edge is partnering with Frank's Pizza and Chicken to offer you 10% off your ZA. That's short for pizza.
Seriously? Za?
What?
Anyway, mention you heard this ad and Frank's will give you 10% off your order of $15 or more.
Oh my god, have you tried their famous buffalo chicken pizza?
Oh, don't even get me started. Can you name all 4 Frank's locations?
Millville, obviously. Troy Hill, Shaler, and North Hills.
Gold Star. Anyway, support the River's Edge Radio Network by ordering from Frank's Pizza and Chicken the next time you get hungry for some za. And don't forget to mention you heard this ad so you get your 10% off. Go to frankspizzachicken.com for more info.
Offer good for a limited time. Order must be $15 or more before taxes. Cannot be combined with other discounts or offers, other legal jargon and whatnot.
So we went on a trip yesterday to Pinball Perfection, and it was for the Culture Cruise. It should be coming out sometime today or tomorrow, and it was great. It's just in time for PAPA, which is the big international pinball championship, which takes place actually in Carnegie. And we passed 2 Frank's Pizzas on the way. It was awesome. So we're back. This is the River's Edge Radio Network. I'm Brian Crawford here with Michael Cohen and Tara Millsworth behind the board. And we have new information coming from the Pittsburgh International Airport. Can anyone do like some sort of like China song? Is that like Chinese?
No. Sure can't.
Gong.
Well, there are now going to be trips to China. A Chinese tourism company is going to be offering non-stop charter flights from China to Pittsburgh International Airport. And apparently Pittsburgh is the first city in North America to have a charter from this airline
Are they
in
gonna
China.
be cheap too?
If it's going to China, probably not.
Well, I mean, like
Usually-
the ones to Iceland and France are like a few $100s.
Oh, really? A lot of times when
Yeah.
you're going overseas, over to like Asia. Like I know to go to Japan, it's extremely expensive. It's like $1,000 to get to Japan. So I mean, maybe it will be cheaper. It doesn't list costs here, but Pittsburgh actually sent a delegation over to China, and one of their objectives was to get a flight from Pittsburgh to China. And I know maybe people hearing this aren't understanding how big of a deal this is, but it's actually a really big deal because China, being the economic powerhouse it is in today's world, they're going to be obviously a major player in the global economy. And I think that this could really give Pittsburgh a leg up on other cities in the United States with trade and business deals and things like that. So actually a direct flight to China is a really big deal, in my opinion.
I mean, If they're cheap, I'll go check it out.
Yeah, I
Take a week jaunt
Is-
to China.
And it's to all over China, or it's just one city?
I'm sure it's just to one city, but let's see.
What if I want to go to the other city?
So it says regularly scheduled flights to China will probably be 7 to 10 years away. So it's not going to happen right away. There's a lot of work that needs to happen to make this happen. But
None of us are going to be able to afford to live in Pittsburgh by the time this flight actually.
but here's
I'll
a
probably be dead.
here's a quote here from someone from the Pittsburgh delegation. This is from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. It says the charter to schedule service model has been successfully adopted in other parts of the world. And he says, we are the first U.S. market to tap into China's fast-growing tourism market with this type of business model, and it shows Pittsburgh to be an industry leader. So I would agree with that. And I think that's good news for Pittsburgh International Airport, which over the years has had a lot of bad news. So it's nice to see some good stuff here. So I do have one weird news story to wrap the show up.
What you got?
There's a woman, and there's a video. You could check it out on the Huffington Post. She is using her tongue to stop moving fans. Like, there's, like, literally fans spinning, and she's, like,
That's awesome.
sticking her tongue out, and she's actually stopping the fan with her tongue.
She's probably been doing that since she was 5 years old.
I feel like that would be, I feel like, extremely painful.
Maybe she has nerve damage in her tongue.
I imagine she does after she's been whacking it with fans for...
It's the fastest
How
healing
long?
muscle in your body.
Right.
But it's also a muscle that really, really hurts when it gets hurt. And why do teeth not regrow? Why can't you regrow your tooth like a shark? You know, a shark will
Yeah.
replace their teeth.
It's a good
Even
question.
bones heal.
Yeah, but teeth
Yeah.
don't though.
I know, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's weird.
Yeah, why don't they?
You're
Why
born
do
with what
teeth-
you got. I don't know.
But nothing else on your body is like that. Everything else regrows or regenerates or does
There-
something like that.
There's nothing in place in your little jaw to do that, I guess.
But why? Why is that the one part of the human body that has
Why
no?
I don't know, read the
evolution?
Bible.
Why
What
have
does
you
it say?
forsaken me?
Yeah, why do teeth not regrow? I'm serious. I want to know, why do teeth not regrow?
Well, they kind of do. Here's the thing. You know how you have to get wisdom teeth pulled?
Yes.
So
Also,
the-
you're not born with your adult teeth in your
right.
jaw.
So
No.
they regrow once in what should be
Yes.
like about a third of the way into your life. And then you have wisdom teeth, and the reason that those get all cramped when they come in is because your body's kind of expecting you to have lost a couple teeth by that point that you have.
Oh,
Yes.
the
okay.
thing. So normally they would kind
We
of
take care.
replace them.
I see. Yeah, I had my wisdom teeth taken out.
Me too.
Yeah,
I
when I
did
was
not.
younger.
I still feel like I need more room in my mouth.
I've got so many.
Oh,
teeth.
I definitely do. So like I had like a really bizarre jaw, and I had an overbite when I was a kid. So I had to wear this huge like Darth Vader contraption. It was like this like thing that like went over your head and it stuck out of your mouth, and it had gum bands that would actually pull my jaw back.
Yeah, I had a
And-
similar
You had to wear that at night or all the
similar
time?
deal.
Well, they wanted me to wear it all the time, and my
Oh.
dad told them hell no. So
I had to wear something like that at night, and I didn't regularly, and now I still have an overbite.
I know, I still have a fucked up jaw and mouth. Like, it did nothing. My orthodontist was evil.
It's a scam.
well, mine was good, but
I wish I grew up in England.
well,
Everyone
you
just
didn't.
had busted ass teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I would
I'm
be missing a bunch.
I am glad that I have like awesome teeth, but there was a lot of money that was put into my teeth. So I actually had like this crank in my mouth where they had this thing, and they would push it down, and it would actually push your teeth apart to give you more
Oh.
space.
Yeah.
And I remember,
A palate expander.
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So the nurses or the dental assistants, I guess they're called, they would be very, very nice about it. My parents would be nice about it. But like the dentist would come in, and he'd just be like, and it was just like he had no compassion. You're there like crying as he's
God.
like pushing your jaw apart, and he had no compassion whatsoever. It was terrible. But the big contraption, I had to go through braces like twice because I had braces, then I was done with braces, and then I went back to the orthodontist and had braces again. I had so much work done on my teeth.
I did too. And
But to
I'm
this
still
day,
scarred.
because of the way my jaw was, and my dentist actually said, like, I am destined to get caps on my back teeth because my jaw is too tight in the back, and my teeth are so close together on the bottom teeth that like I can't even like I can floss, but like I have to. The floss will actually break in my teeth because they're so tight in the back.
I get that a lot. Yeah. Yeah,
Me too.
Like when I use the little ones with the little bit of floss, you know, on the end of the stick.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not enough.
Those
That's...
but those always tear. I go through
Yeah.
like 3 of those
They're
when
not-
I floss.
Yep.
But they're so good. They're the only way I can reach all the way back there because I have teeth that go like all the way to the back of my head basically. Because I have so many. Teeth to spare. Teeth
Yes.
for days.
You got teeth for days. So I don't know. I feel like it would be awful to lose a tooth. Like you see some of these people that have like a missing tooth. It changes the whole.
It is.
It might feel good though.
It's not a good look.
No. So, what is today? Today is Wednesday. I will be back at least on Friday morning. We may have a Millville Music Minute. I got to figure out what's going on with that, but I will be back Friday morning right here, 10 a.m. What do you have coming up?
All right, I have a show at the Elvenwild, whatever it's called, Firehouse on the 8th. So that's this Saturday with Wolfie and friends. And then I've got Brillo Box on Tuesday opening for Gabinesso.
Very
so
cool.
people should come to both of those. They're going to be awesome. And then way farther out, May 5th, I'm going to be at Steel City Improv doing the
Nice.
Young Guns show again.
And I have coming
That is
up
a
on
delightful
the 18th, I believe. Let me see. Is it the 18th? No, it's the next week. It's I'm gonna be up on Awesome Cast, so just stay tuned for that. I'll be on Awesome Cast on a coming show. So
Hello.
so we're can you shut that door? We're in a live recording. Anyways, yeah, I'll be back. Is the door shut?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be on Awesome Cast on an upcoming show. I don't know who would just walk into a studio in a live recording. But this has been River Talk. I'm Brian Crawford. Stay tuned. Up next, we have local music here on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, The River's Edge.